Good morning, y'all. So today I thought we would do some little home decor or gift things that you might could do for teachers or friends or to take, to a host who's hosting a party or a dinner or something like that. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And as I am showing y'all how to do these things, we'll chat a little bit too. What you think? Okay? So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we're going to decoupage some soap. Okay, and yes, this is just plain ivory soap that you get at Walmart. Get in a big 6 pack or 8 pack, which is what I did. And I did these last year for Christmas, and they were a lot of fun. I gave them out to family and friends. You can also do them just for your own home decor ideas. So um, let's get started with this. Let's open each one of them up. I'm going to do 3 of them and show you what to do. But it makes such pretty little gifts. You can do it for like your guest bathroom if you want special soap in there. Of course, you can go out and buy some if you want to, but there's no fun in doing that. And it can be a headache, because then you got to go find what you like and where can you find it and all the sort of thing. So now what you're going to do is you're going to start with some dishwasher safe Mod Podge. Okay. Now, I wish I could say that this was my original brainchild. It was not. I learned this from another YouTuber. I'm going to try to figure out who that is and put it um, in the corner up here so you can see. But I believe it's something I learned from a lady who has a YouTube channel. She's Canadian. She does some very cool stuff, very cool stuff. So if it's her, I will put her information up here in the corner so that you guys can check her out. Um, what I like to do with the Mod Podge, I mean with the soap, Mod Podge and soap is I like to use pretty papers on it. Now you can use decorative napkins. These are actually paper doilies that I got from Temu actually. So I'm gonna use those. I'll get a decorative napkin though and do one of them so that you can see how to do that too if you're interested in doing that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do with this is you want to coat the tops of the soap. And actually, I'm not going to do the side that's got the name written down. I want to do the flat side, okay? And I'm going to put a very thick coat of dishwasher safe Mod Podge on here. Now, while I do this, I'll tell you a little story. So I was watching YouTube yesterday. Um, just kind of flipping through. I don't really watch regular TV anymore. I'm always curious to see what other people are doing, even if it's not something I'm naturally or that I'm going to be interested in doing myself. I still like to watch what other people do because I like ideas. And so there was this lady who was a decorator, probably trained or educated in formal decor or whatever. And I thought, oh, well, I'll watch this. And I had to just turn it off because it was not for me. Now, there's a lesson in this right here. I mean, if something is not for you, you don't have to comment that it's not for you or that you don't like it or you want them to change. You just don't watch the channel. That's what I can't understand. Like, why do people have to be so ugly on some of their comments? I haven't had any ugly comments yet. I'm sure I will, but I hear other creators talk about it, and I'm just kind of like, I don't understand. Like if I have a video that I see that I'm not real happy with, guess what? I'm just gonna turn it off and do something else and not watch that channel. But in this particular episode of whatever she was going to be talking about, she was at a store. She was at Home Goods, I think, and talking about, decorate with this, but don't decorate with that, and do this so that it doesn't look like your pillows fell from the sky all of a sudden and don't really match your decor or your sofa or whatever. I'm gonna tell y'all something. When it comes to rules, I have been a rule follower, it seems, all my life. At first because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, and then I was made to do it. And then I realized I'm not really good at it. And I need to have an outlet where there are no rules, okay? And for me, that's my house, okay? And so when I decorate, I'm very maximalist. I'm very like I'm over the top. And the reason is because, well, it makes me happy. It makes my eyes twinkle and my heart sing, and that's just what I like. Now, if somebody else doesn't like that, they don't have to decorate their house that way. They can decorate their house the way that they want to. They can look at what I do and go, oh my God, I'd never do that. Well, good for you. Don't. Don't do that. If that's not for you, don't do it. But I will say this. Um, Turn. If somebody's doing something you don't like, that doesn't agree, that doesn't, meet your ideas or ideals or your standards, turn the channel. Because I don't expect that person who's got their video up to change to make me happy. And I am certainly not going to change to make somebody else happy. So, is what it is. So, ain't nothing you can do about it, really. Ain't nothing you can do about it. So, anyway, so the moral of the story is when you do something in your house, do what makes you happy, not what some educated influencer told you to do. Now look, if you guys want to, do something that's, in a certain way or whatever, do it. If that makes you happy, do it. Do it. But your house is the one place you can express yourself and nobody really need to comment or whatever. So, but with that said, this is my first coat right here. And it's a little bumpy looking. Um, let me just try to spread this a little bit here. I want it to be a little bit smoother than this. I might have messed this up, because I'm chatting instead of paying attention to what I'm doing. I mean, I should be able to do both. I mean, I got to give my woman card back because I can't. Y'all, y'all. So, but I'm just going to kind of smooth it just a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm going to need to set this to the side and let it dry. And it might need to dry for a while, like overnight or something. So we'll just see. But I'm going to set this to the side and let it dry. In the meantime, let's look at what our options are here. I'm going to use this piece here that I'm not using just to kind of get an idea of what the shape's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and open these up. And these are just adorable. And again, I got these from Temu. And y'all, I fought so hard trying to order anything from Temu. I did because, well, I'm not going to go into that. But I did. I tried to fight it. But y'all, I got on there and I got to looking around and I found certain things I loved and I caved. And this is one of them. I mean, look at that little paper doily. Is that not the cutest thing? I mean, it's gorgeous. Look at that. And so I love the paper doilies. I'm a doily person. I like regular doilies. I've got vintage doilies that have been given to me from family members or that I picked up at thrift stores. So yeah, um, love them. And then I got these cutouts too. Look how that's packaged. Is that not the most adorable thing? It's got this little ribbon around it. Look at that. Um, I don't know that they have any more of these on Temu. I bought these over a year ago. Um, but these are just some pieces that are, they're decorative. Personally, I love this one right here. That's beautiful. So, and I like to take these and combine them with the paper doilies. Um, let me see here. Oh, that one's pretty. So let's see what kind of combination we can come up with here. Does that make sense? So, and what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half like this. Fold it in half, and then you'll fold whatever doily in half that you want to use. I kind of like that. Try to make a little bit of a straight edge here. And if you don't have these kinds of papers, look, you can do this with anything. I mean, you can do it with decorative napkins. You can do this with cardstock. You can do this with decorative tissue paper. Um, I mean, there's just all kinds of things you can do. You don't have to get the little decorative doily things like I have here. So you can kind of see how, what I'll do is when I attach this to the soap, it'll be in this little half moon shape, so you'll still be able to see the soap, and then you'll have this part on here too. And then because of the way, I think I'm going to do it like that right there. I don't want it to necessarily be completely half of the piece of the doily. So I'm just going to kind of put a small little cut like that right there. There we go. And I'll stick that together on top of the soap, and that will be very pretty. Okay, put that to the side for now. And then, uh, let me see here. I may just do like a doily on it. I really love this one here. That's so pretty. And I could even kind of come off at an angle like that. Let's do that. Isn't that pretty? An angle like that. So it's just a wee bit offset. Now, before I use it on the actual piece, I may have to trim it up a bit, but that gives me the basic idea there. All right, we'll put these to the side. All right, now let me show you this here. Okay, this is a napkin I ordered from Amazon, probably last year sometime. And I love this napkin. It is actually um, fall-like. It's got some acorns on it and some kind of fall-like flowers. The reason I love it is because it reminds me of the blue chinoiserie. And so I'm going to decoupage a piece of this to one of the bars of soap. When you decoupage napkins, though, sometimes, and some of you may know this, but others may not, there are multiple layers to napkins. They can have 2 to 3 different layers. Sometimes on the packaging, it may tell you like 2 ply, 3 ply, whatever. You really just want to have the top layer. Sometimes it's hard to get it started. Use a piece of tape, it'll help get it started. See, just picks it right on up. Now, I know some crafters that will keep this piece, um, and if you attach this to a piece of paper, you can actually run it through a laser printer and use this to decoupage with. I've not done that, nor have I kept these pieces before, because, well, I don't have time for that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead though and figure out what part of the napkin I might like to have on my soap. And I kind of like the way that this little bouquet right here looks. Isn't that pretty? So question is, do I do it kind of more like that? So there are actually websites out there where you can buy a napkin to do decoupage with. Um, or you can get them off of Amazon or Temu, or, you know, go to the Dollar Tree, Walmart, Dollar General, any of those places. They will have some decorative napkins from time to time that you could use. So, so that's the little piece I'm going to work with right there. We'll set that off to the side for now. Now, will I save this? Probably should, but I'm not going to this time. So, um, besides, I've had this for over a year. I need to use it. So wouldn't it be pretty decoupage on like one of those little plastic pumpkins? Put that in your house. Be pretty. Anyway, Might do that. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I have my little soaps here. They have dried, and now I'm going to take an iron. I'm going to use my regular iron because I really need for this to be hot. You want it to be hot but no steam, okay? And I'm going to fix um, my pieces of paper on here in the soap, okay? And here is the piece. I think I'm going to do like right there. Okay, now you want to take parchment paper to iron this with, okay? Not wax paper, you want parchment paper. You want to just put that parchment paper over it and put that iron on there and let it sit for a few seconds. Maybe having a problem with this one. My paint may have done something wonkadoo. Look at that. Some pink came out of it. That's very interesting. So this particular napkin, the paint ran out of it. So I've used it before with this project. I didn't have the pink. Um, but either way, it's going to be pretty anyway. Might not use the napkin again for this, or any kind of decoupage for that matter, if it runs like this. So, all right, let me go ahead and do this one. I got a clean piece here. All right, you see how it kind of pulled while it's still kind of lax. You can then take it and do this right here with it. There we go. All right. And now let's do this one. Okay, now I have these attached. I'm going to trim the edges here. Don't sand the soap to get clean edges. I think it's really necessary. Okay, that looks good. Let's get these. Actually, this might sand nice. Let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to sand down. Scraping off the excess Mod Podge that's kind of dripped down on the sides. Okay. All right. Got those trimmed up. Now, the reason that you want to use dishwasher safe Mod Podge is this, because when this cures, and it takes about, I believe it takes 30 days, so when you do these, you want to do them enough in advance for them to cure. Once it cures, when you use the soap to wash your hands, because this has got the dishwasher safe Mod Podge on the top of it, when the soap gets wet, the soap comes from this side and not for this side. So as the soap gets thinner and thinner and thinner, you continue to have your pretty top. It doesn't go away, and you're left with this at the very end if you do it right. You have to put several layers on. So now I'm going to go ahead and start working on the layers of the Mod Podge. Now of course with this one I'm going to put this piece on top. I'm just going to kind of put a light coat there. Remember, Mod Podge is nothing really but glue. So, and I'll trim this off here. And then Mod Podge over the top of it. Now, what I usually do is I will do a layer, and then when that dries, do another layer, and then when that dries, I'll do like 4 or 5, sometimes 6 layers on these to get a nice thick coating over the top of the design. Definitely with this, we'll use a coat here. Disappointed in it running like it did. But at least you have an example of what a napkin would look like if you were to use one. You just want to make sure that, you know, if you're using it for a gift, that it's color fast and it's not gonna run and smear like this one did. Yeah. So, I mean, it's got the pink in it. I don't hate it, but, you know, I really would like to have had it to be, you know, the nice crisp white and blue. I think that would be much prettier. So again, I will probably put another 4 or 5 coats on top of this after each layer dries. Now what I wanted to show y'all is, if you don't have the doily paper that I have and stuff, if you have some cardstock or even scrapbook paper, which is what I have here. This is a fall scrapbook that I got from Hobby Lobby on sale, and the pages are gorgeous. So I'm flipping through here, and I like the thankful, one that says thankful on it. I like the flowers. The sunflowers are very pretty, and the pumpkins earlier are very pretty. So I'm going to cut out the thankful part of this. I'm going to measure and figure out how much of it I'm going to need. I'm going to cut out a rectangular piece from this. And then in this next book are some examples of Christmas cardstock or scrapbook paper. And I'm going to take a piece of this and show y'all what you can do with it in order to Mod Podge it onto some soap and make some holiday soap. Now I have 2 pieces. One is for Thanksgiving, the other is for Christmas. I'm going to take some packing tape, and what you want to do is you want to put the packing tape on the back of this paper, and you're going to use it to lift off layers of this paper over and over and over again to make it thinner. And that makes it more pliable. It will better absorb the Mod Podge, stick to whatever it is you're putting it on. And you just put the packing tape on. You're going to rub with a hard object like a credit card, or I've got a plastic stick. And then you'll begin to lift the packing tape and peel it from the back of the paper. And it's going to rip off the pieces of or the layers of the paper, and you'll do that over and over and over again. Now what I realized is that the cardboard was too soft of a surface. It really works best if you can rub that plastic stick or credit card against the back of the tape and paper for a better adherence, so that you can pull a better layer off. And so I put it on the actual table, and you'll see there's a much better removal of the layers at this point. And you just keep doing this over and over again until you get a thinner layer, more like a regular sheet of notebook paper, or you can keep going. You can actually get it to more like a tissue paper consistency. Okay, and I'm going to fussy cut a little bit around this design, and I'll show you how I remove some of the layers of it uh, using the packing tape. And you can see how it would fit on the soap, and there's the thankful one, and here is what it looks like finished. These are the two of the doily ones. I didn't put the blue on here. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it when it was done. I'll just style the green ones together. I think that's pretty, and it makes some really pretty little soaps for your bathroom. Project 2. Okay, now what is next? Well, I'm going to show you guys this because this is a great way to make a little gift for somebody. Let me get my alcohol here to clean this piece up here. It's got the sticky piece from where it had a price tag. Now, how many of y'all have gone into a thrift store and have just found these little single plates or dishes just kind of by themselves and think, oh, that's pretty, but I can't really use that for anything? And just kind of walk by it and leave it as is. I've done that many, many times. Um, well, if you love it, there's always something that you might could do with it. You might could make a riser out of it, or in this case, we're going to make a candlestick holder. So I'm just kind of making sure I fill all that uh, glue lift up there. And this is a quick and simple, easy project to do. And it's well received usually too. Like people are like, they like to get it because one, you made it, and two, it's kind of interesting. It's certainly unique. So now when you do pick up a plate from a thrift store, you got to remember some thrift stores know what they're getting and others don't. Always Google image it to make sure that you're not going to be DIYing something that actually may have some value. Okay. Now I did Google this. This is not of value. It's beautiful, but this is not like a vintage or antique piece. Um, if it is, well, I'm going to be keeping it anyway. So, and I love it. So I'm not going to worry about it. But I wouldn't show y'all how to do this with it if it were, because somebody's going to be like, I can't believe you did that with an antique piece. Okay, again, you don't like the channel? Go to a different one. If you like the channel, hang out with me. See what all I have to say. Okay. And of course, the more comfortable I get doing this, you know, the more I will be saying. Anyway, now, let's talk about this other piece over here. This is a little candle holder, little glass candle holder. I ordered a bunch from, I believe, Temu. I got them for a very good price. I think I got 8 for like $3, okay? And these are, I mean, it is solid glass and they're very heavy and they're just gorgeous. And when you attach it to this, it looks like it was just always meant to be. Look at that. Is that not the prettiest? And so I'm going to attach this with some E6000 to the dish. This is clear. They do have them in different colors. They had some greens and some pinks and some cobalt blues that I thought were very pretty. So if you have a plate that's got specific colors on it and you want to accent those colors, you could certainly order this in a different color. The other thing that they have, and Amazon has these too, is they have the metal cup candle holders. I bought some little gold ones. They have them in silver too. And you could always put that onto your plate or a dish that you find that might look better with a candle holder. I even considered doing this. I thought this was kind of pretty, where you just kind of layer it like that. And I might do that just for a little added interest. So, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to just go right around the edge of this with this E6000. Um, and because there is a little rim inside of the plate here, where this was, originally like for a coffee cup, um, it will not slide, and it makes it easy to center it. So that's the thing about E6000 is whenever I glue things together, sometimes I have to tape them into place because it will slide, and then you have a piece that's not like kind of like what you want. Okay, so and I'm just rotating it around to make sure I've got it kind of centered good enough, essentially. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll set this on a flat surface for about 24 hours. And again, I think I am going to go ahead and do the little metal cup, kind of go along the edge where this is going to hit the side of the other candle cup. There we go. Make sure it's straight in there. Okay. Make sure that looks pretty level. There have been a few times I've glued some things together with E6000 that I needed to unglue. I will tell you, you let it sit in some alcohol for a little bit, hot water and alcohol. Um, it will come apart eventually. Otherwise, it's pretty strong stuff. Okay. All right, so this is another one I'm going to just set over to the side and let that cure for the next 24 hours. And here's the finished product. It looks like it was always made this way. No one would ever guess this used to be a saucer that went to a coffee cup. Now it's a beautiful little candle holder, and I just love it. I hope y'all do too. And for our final project, number 3. Now, the next thing that we're going to work on is a little miniature shadow box. Okay. Now, I found this shadow box at a thrift store. It is a hot mess. I mean, this is not adhered. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this off the back or not. I think I paid $1 for this thing. But I'm going to open this up. I'm going to clean it up, and I'm going to make a little shadow box out of it. You can get little shadow boxes like this from Michael's. I've seen some at Hobby Lobby too. And you could probably even order them from Amazon if not ever looked, because I've just always kind of picked them up at thrift stores. But what I like to do is I like to take some of my doilies. Now, these are doilies that, again, I got from Temu. Sometimes I'll use my antique doilies if they're stained and I can't really use them in the decor. These are just regular manufactured doilies, but they're pretty. They're still very pretty. And you can use these in projects um, using doilies for decorations. I've made some doily projects before using some of the more antique things. And I'm not sure if I want to go with the more beige or if I want to go with the white. So I'll make that decision in a little bit. But in the shadow box, you can add things that you love. And it doesn't even have to make sense. You can just like the way that they look. I love this barrette, little pearls on it. My hair's too thick to use it. But I've just had it and I like it, so I may put that in there. This is a little vintage piece I've had for a very, very long time. I'm not sure exactly where I got it, but it goes in those little cubbies. If you got like the little square cubbies that you put up, but it says Coca-Cola on it. I might put that in there. Um, I like keys, old keys. I got these from Temu. I think you get them off Amazon too, but they're just little decorative keys that you can use in craft projects. They're brass with a little bit of like green paint on them to make it look like patina. You can paint these if you don't like the color. They're easy to spray paint. Like if I wanted to make them black or something along those lines, I could certainly do that. Or I could change them and make them look bronze. I might put some of that in there. Um, Here are some little hooks. I could probably fix the hook to the back of the box, maybe hang a key from it, you know, something like that. I don't know. But these are just some ideas that I have. I'm not sure exactly yet what I'm going to put in the box, but the first thing I am going to do is get this box taken apart and cleaned up. Okay, so I got it taken apart. I was able to pry, I should say, pry the back of it off and scrape the stuff off, wash the little um, glass piece that was in there. This was originally glued to this, and the glue had broken down, so I'll fix that back once I'm done. I'll put that to the side for now. And then I'll wash this up. Probably messed up doing that because this is looks like it's probably made out of MDF. And so it's been swelling a bit. That's okay. We will just figure out a way to do something textured on it or something. I don't know. We'll pivot essentially. Um, all right, now what to do for background on this? Well, I got this new Iron Orchid Design transfer book. It's part of the Christmas season decor. However, it's certainly not solely Christmas season. It's called Transfer Clementine, and it's got some really gorgeous transfers in it. So I'm thinking about using one of these in the background. Um, and whatever picture I use, I will um, take the color ideas from it. Oh, that's gorgeous. Um, there's some oranges. It's pretty. I think that's the last page there. Uh, let's see here. I'm going to do oranges. That might be really pretty. I do like that, but I may save this large piece for something a little bit more substantial because I mean, I could use that part of it, but I don't want to waste it. I did like this too. I may be doing something along those lines. Yeah, if you're going to do it, you probably want to do the cabbage flower. I think I'm going to go with the oranges. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with this first because it's bubbling up, and I don't know if y'all can see that. Isn't that terrible? That's what happens when you like put something underwater that isn't supposed to be underwater. It's not supposed to be underwater. Anyway, so I think I'm going to try to make this some sort of a texture, maybe kind of make it look a little stone or whatever. I'm going to use some spackling compound to do that with. And then I've got three colors. I'm going to paint the background this color because I believe that a black background with this on top of it would really make this orange and yellows pop. Um, I'm going to paint the frame Everett green um, because I think that would tie in with the leaves and all. Well, we'll see. May change my mind, but that's where I'm going with it now. So I was considering doing prairie yellow for the background, but I think the black will look better. So the first thing I'll do for is let's get the black going and drying. This is Coal Black by Fusion. Coal Black by Fusion paint. And again, Fusion, if you don't remember, Fusion has both a sealer and a primer in it, which makes it nice for, of course, painting furniture, to paint furniture. Um, but it's great for craft projects. And I like getting these little sample bottles from one of my retailers that I get stuff from. Um, she has a good price on them, in my opinion. Susie on the Farm. She's out of, I believe, out of North Alabama, somewhere close to Birmingham. So she had a big sale several months ago, and I got several, almost one in every color that she had. Um, Tried to keep a supply of little samplers going any time. I have purchased some of the bigger um, pint size bottles of these things, but I'll tell you, I don't use that much, and one of those pint sizes will last me, forever. So I wish they had something that was between a sampler and the pint size to use. But until then, I'll just use the samples, the sample sizes. I was hoping to just be able to do this in one coat, but I'm gonna need to let this dry and then put a second coat on, I'm sure. Okay. Set that to the side and let it dry. Okay, now, y'all, I have the worst luck with spackling compound. I mean, I love to use spackling compound for, trying to make projects look like they're made out of stone or giving them texture or whatever. And so the last bit of spackling compound I had, it molded. Never had that happen before, but it did. This just stinks. I mean, it smells like it's burned. Um, I mean, there's no evidence of bacteria in it, but y'all, it just smells to high heaven. And I don't know that it's supposed to stink like this, but whatever. So, but let's just kind of put some of this on here. I'm using a spatula. It's supposed to be a Cricut spatula, but it's basically a knockoff from the Dollar Tree. So paid $1.25 for it. Um, but it does the job that I need for it to do. So we're gonna just frost this like a piece of cake. Ooh, cake, y'all, cake. All right. How many of y'all love some cake there? Depends on the cake, right? Let's spread this on. I keep the bottom clear for right now until the tops and sides dry. It's a little bit satisfying right there. Look at that. That actually looks so pretty. When this dries, see, I'll just sand it and it'll kind of look maybe like it's made out of some sort of like, pottery or something like that. Ooh, that would be an idea. Make this look like terracotta. That might be pretty with that orange. I don't know, we'll see. So most of the time when I start out with a project, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I just have an idea of what I would like to do generally, but I don't have a fixed plan. I'm like, this might work. Let's try this. And then if I don't like it, then I undo it and I do something different. I probably need to go ahead and do the front here. Picture looks a little fallish. Of course, you can leave it up probably through Christmas maybe, but we'll see how it turned out. People do decorate with oranges during the holidays. I've never done it before, but I have seen it done before. Of course, y'all remember the stories you used to hear from your grandparents. Look at all them toys. When I was a little kid, all I got was an orange and a string, and all three of us had to share it. You remember that? Like, why are you telling me that story? Yeah, that sucks for you, but don't be raining on my parade, right? That to the side to dry. Add the bottom part on there later. That usually dries pretty quick, definitely in a day or so. Now, one of the things you can do is if you don't feel like waiting for something to dry, you can get a heat gun or a hair dryer. This actually is a heat tool that you use for embossing. I've never done embossing before. I just got this because I wanted one and it was on sale, so I got it. There we go. That's what I'm going to need right there. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but it's got these little ridges where the paint lines were. I'm going to sand that and then put another coat on. So let's see what that looks like when I do that. I may be going about to mess something up, but we'll see. I have a little finger sander. Got this from Amazon. Comes with these cute little pieces of sandpaper that you can peel off and put another one on. You can get a fine grit and a coarse grit, and then they come together. So I bought a pack of this over a year ago, and it's lasted me this whole time. So a better finish there. Perfect. Some of these areas are going to be covered up, so it might have not mattered so much to have the ridges in it, but I really kind of wanted it to be as smooth as I could get it. So, but that's me. There we go. That's going to look good, in my humble opinion. Cool it off a little bit. Okay, now let's see how this would best look. I think I'm going to do it from this side over. So these will be cut off here. I could probably just go ahead and just cut all the way down that edge there. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so now these are the transfers from Iron Orchid Design called the Clementine. I kind of didn't cut that right, did I? Oh, well, whatever. If it wraps around, it wraps around, not a biggie. Okay, let me get the little plastic stick. I'm just gonna push it on and lift up. Now, if this paint that I had, if it didn't have a built-in sealer and primer in it, definitely a built-in sealer, I would need to seal this piece. Otherwise, this transfer would just end up pulling the paint off and leaving the transfer on. So that's another reason why I like to use Fusion paint or the Cottage Colors of DIY, because I don't have to worry about sealing it. Now, if I wanted to use one of those colors, then I could do like a polyacrylic sealer for it. Um, and ideally, if I weren't in a hurry, I'd probably just set this piece to the side before putting this transfer on and kind of let it sit for a little bit. Um, and I'm not necessarily in a hurry, but I do want to try to get as much of the project done today as I can because, well, tomorrow I have to work a whole day. Tomorrow's one of my 9-hour days that I do online. And when I usually finish my 9-hour day, my brain's scrambled and my voice is weak, so I don't do a whole lot else other than just kind of stare off into space and take a shower, sometimes at the same time. So my daughter this year is a senior in high school, which is, when she gets finished, we're gonna take the opportunity to relocate back to Alabama, close to family. But she has now decided that she wants to do psychiatry. She wants to be a psychiatrist, which means she's going to have to go to medical school. And those of y'all who know me know how I feel about that. But I do not want to discourage her. If that's what she wants to do, then I want her to do it. I do worry about her going to medical school with all that's changed since I was there. But, you know, I do know that Auburn has a DO program now. And had that been in place at the time I was considering my options, I might have stayed in Auburn rather than going up to Birmingham. So originally she was going to be a psychologist and she wanted to do a forensic psychology, and now she's thinking she wants to be a psychiatrist. If that's what she wants to do, I will absolutely support her through it. That's one of the things that I always said I would do when my children decided what they wanted to do in their life. They did not need to be a doctor, lawyer, or accountant. They could be anything they wanted to be. So my son was going to be a school teacher. He's about to finish up his last part of college. He only had 1 credit hour to finish, and it's a research project. So that's the reason that it's only 1 credit hour, but it's going to take him the full semester to do it because it's a research project. And he'll have a math degree and his teaching degree, and he's already tested and passed all the tests to be a teacher. He's going to be teaching math. And then he decided he's not real certain he likes the children, which I understand. I understand because I used to feel the same way. Um, I like my children. You know, don't we all like our children? We don't like everybody else's children. But anyway, now he's decided he thinks he might want to be an electrician, which is fine. That is fine. So I told him I might finish your degree and then go be an electrician. So that's the plan. And I'm totally fine with that. I think it'd be fun, actually, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind being an electrician or a mechanic, or I don't think I'd like being a plumber. I don't think that would be fun. But being a mechanic or an electrician, I think that could be interesting work. And as a matter of fact, at one point I actually thought about taking night classes when I used to work during the days, taking night classes at a local community college and learn how to become a mechanic. But there were other classes that would have been during the times where I would have needed to work, so I abandoned that idea. Now, I've got that on. Let's see, which one of these doilies would look best? Should I use a white one or should I use a beige one? I'm kind of thinking the beige might be prettier. Well, I like that. That's gorgeous. So, and it might just be something really quite simple like that. I don't want it to cover up my little orange though. Let's see, maybe something like, oh, that might work. And I just want a piece of it. I don't want the whole thing covered, just a piece. Uh, Here's another one. Like that one. I kind of like this one. Kind of goes along with the whole flower thing, doesn't it? I think I'm gonna go with that. Let me see what the white looks like though before I do that. That makes the sash pop a little bit. But I like how this brings out the tones and the flowers and the leaves. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that one. Let me know in the comments which one you like better. Should I have gone with the white? I don't know. So, but we'll see how this turns out. So let me go ahead and figure how I want this on here. Maybe something like that. And then let's get my scissors. And how am I going to fix it to this? Well, you can hot glue this one. Uh, Carefully though, of course, but you can hot glue it. Which I need to get the old heat gun, the hot glue gun going, don't I? I'm not sure if I got it heated up or not. Yeah, sometimes I accidentally leave this thing plugged in for days. Yeah, no, it's not heated. Plugged in. And thank the Lord afterwards that my house didn't burn down. I wish I could find me a hot glue gun that's got an on-off switch. Now this one has a high-low switch, but it'd be nice to leave it plugged in and have an on-off switch. I'm sure there's one out there, just haven't found it yet. But that's the goal. Okay. Now these little scraps I could probably use, so I'll probably hold on to those for right now. Um, and get this glued on. You might could even do something on the opposite side. I don't know, that might be a little much. Okay. So we'll get the heat gun, the hot glue gun heated up and we'll use that. And then we'll see what other kinds of little embellishments I might want to put on there. I did find an H. That'd be kind of cute to be on there. Um, and I also have some of these. I forgot about these, but these are fun. Little blingies that I could probably just kind of put on there. There's various different ones of these. There is a cameo. I have considered doing a cameo. Wouldn't that be pretty? Oh yeah, look at that. I like that. So I like making pictures with collages in them. Um, I don't do it a lot, not as much as I'd like. So that's why we'll collect these little whatnot things. Let's open this up. Now, I love how it has this little hanging down thing. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. Of course, I have to make sure I put this in an area where it would be able to hang, which this might not be the best project for that. Here I we go with this one here. When I originally got this, I didn't particularly care for the flowers, but with this, kind of works. Kind of works, in my opinion. Kind of like it. What do you think? The black cameo or the beigey one? I just think I'm drawn to this one. You know what else we could do too? Let's see what kind of buttons I have. Let's see what kind of fun buttons are in here. Many of them were owned by my by my by her mother, um, and I just like using them in many of my projects. Kind of like that. I like that turquoise color on there. I like layering them. Wee bit of bling. Can cut the back off that. That's definitely plastic. That might be kind of fun to have on there. Now, I want y'all to keep in mind what I said about being a maximalist and liking gaudy, okay? Some of y'all might not like what I put on my little vignette here that I'm gonna be doing, okay? That's all right, y'all ain't got to. When y'all do yours, if you do one of these, you do it the way you wanna do it, see? Now, what I'm gonna do is just put a little glue on the back of these, in the thicker sections. Go. Got that glued down pretty good. I'm gonna trim it up. And then I'm gonna glue this little silver piece in the center. Okay. And then I'm gonna glue this piece down. And then we'll glue this piece on top of that. All right. Okay, let's layer this one up. Be like, now what if I don't have any buttons? Well, if you don't have any buttons, find something that you do have that you do like, because we all collect little things. Sometimes we have them stuck away somewhere. Sometimes we forget we even have them, and they could be used in something like this. tiny drop of glue on here. Let's put this on top. There we go. Get those strings off. Okay. All right. I could E6000 this down, but to be honest with you, I don't mind it being a little bit temporary because what if I get tired of it and I want to change it and do something else? I could do that. Um, I love to take down things that I've done already and redo them into something different rather than just throwing it out. Now I use some tin snips to try to cut the back of this off so I could glue it easier. So it will make it a little bit easier to fix to the back of this. So I like the little bling there. Just a little bling, little bling. I don't know. Okay, so I have the dried picture frame and from where I put the spackling compound on it, and I'm going to just sand this down. My finger sander strips are I'm out of them, so I'm going to just use a regular piece of sandpaper. I believe this is actually a 120 grit. You may want to go higher than 120, like 180 or 220, but this should be okay. Sands up nicely. Okay, now I'm going to use some folk art chalk paint. This color is called Fired Clay. And I'll tell you, it looks just like terracotta when you... Right now it's looking very orange. However, once this dries and I get the waxes on it, it will look very similar to terracotta, which I think will look really pretty with this collage that I've made to put inside. Now since this is more of a shadow box type frame, I am definitely going to paint this inside here. So this is probably going to need 1 or 2 more coats, and once I get that done and it's dried, we'll pick up from there. Okay, now that I have 3 coats on this, I'm going to go ahead and begin the waxing process. So I have 2 waxes. This is the dark wax by DIY. Actually, it's the white wax by DIY. And then this is the dark wax by Debbie's DIY, or Debbie's Design Diary. Now, I'm going to put the white wax on first. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I do want to put dark wax on. But sometimes with chalk paint, it is going to grab up that pigment from the dark wax, can get pretty dark. And so if you put the white wax on and then add the dark wax, it'll prevent the piece that you're working on from getting too dark. If it does, you can always use white wax like an eraser to lighten it up. So I'm going to put the white wax on all the way around, and then once I have that on, I'll wipe it off. Now to wipe back the excess wax from the frame, I'm just going to use some paper towels. You can use a microfiber rag or washcloth, or shop towels are really good with this too. I just don't have any shop towels. The blue shop towels, I don't have any at this time. So I'm going to get the excess white wax off, And once I do that, I will apply the dark wax next. Now, I did not white wax the inside of the frame because I'm okay with the darker pigmentation on the inside. Since it's a shadow box, I would like for it to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to go all the way around the inside of the frame with the dark wax, and I will wipe back the excess once I'm done with that. Now here is the frame once I've gotten it wiped back. You can see the inside's a little darker than on the outside, but to me it looks like a nice piece of terracotta. Okay, now I'm going to get the frame ready to put together, and I'm going to use some alcohol to just wipe the glass off, make sure it's nice and clear and it's clean on both sides. And I'm going to also use that alcohol to make sure that there is no excess wax on the inside, because I need to glue this glass to the inside frame. And for that, I will use a little bit of hot glue and some E6000. Okay, and here is what the E6000 looks like. And I'm going to use that to place just on this inner lip. And you'll see I'll do a small section, skip a space, do a small section, skip a space, and I'm going to do that all the way around. In the spaces, I will put the hot glue. The hot glue will hold the frame intact in the short term while I'm waiting for that E6000 to dry. In the long term, and should for whatever reason this frame get warm, the hot glue, if the hot glue were to melt or whatever, the glass frame should not come loose because the E6000 will hold it in place. Okay, now let's put the hot glue between the areas of E6000. And then I'm just going to set the glass into that, press it gently down without getting any, using the tip of my fingernails so that I don't get fingerprints on the inside of the glass. Now I'm just going to pop my collage or little vignette piece into the lip on the back. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to hold it into place. It does pop in and seem to hold by itself without me having to add anything to keep it closed. So given that I like to take things apart and repurpose them when I get tired of them, I may just leave it temporary. Or I could just put a little hot glue on the edges to hold it in place, because that would be pretty easy to remove if I ever wanted to open it back up and use the shadow box for something else. And once I removed all of the little blue strings and I have it securely in place, this is my little finished product. It looks so cute. I just love it. So let me show y'all what it looks like staged. And here it is. I've even paired it with my little candlestick. I've got a little candle in it, and I've got some little flowers around my candlestick. I just think that it turned out so pretty. It looks very fall-like. Of course, I could use this for the entire fall season, maybe even into the winter time, maybe into Christmas time. But I like the way the little terracotta appearance to the frame turned out, and it really makes that little orange pop.